Do we know what they said to Zack to tell him, yeah, you have to say this again? Now, Zack, like when I talked about the last stream we were on, Zack Snyder called me, had a conversation for about 30, 35 minutes. And it was that scenario. In essence, it was that scenario. Do you want your movie or not? What I didn't tell you guys was that Zack said to me, this is about my movie. So please, I've fought for you guys. I've gone to bat and told them that you guys are awesome and you're raising a ton of money and y'all are doing good work. And Warner Media persisted. These are our demands. Distance yourself. So I asked Zack, do they not realize that the money that's being raised here is money from the Geeks and Gamers community? Like, has that been expressed to them? He said, yes. I told them that. I was on the phone for 2 hours with these guys, arguing with them. And the last thing they told me was, do you want this movie or not? And I really had nothing to say to that. When he said it, I said, hey, I get it. I mean, bruh.
VigilanteWilliamson here with several, what I think to be simple questions. Number one, and please explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old. I mean this genuinely. Let me know in the comments. I am fairly new-ish to the whole fandom and this movement. I've been making videos since about July of last year. I've been following since about October or November of 2019. And I don't understand what makes Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers so nuclear toxic that he needs to be disclaimed publicly. And by the way, as a second note, if it is the case, why would you even do a stream in which he's associated enough with that you need a disclaimer? If you don't want to deal with him and Geeks and Gamers, why do the stream? Secondly, if you must do a disclaimer to say, hey, I'm not associated with any way, shape, form, or fashion Geeks and Gamers, why did you have to do it like that? Firstly, it was absolutely the very first thing he said. And then he did something where he made a reference to events that went on recently. And quite frankly, I don't understand why that was referenced. If anyone understands how psychology works, there's a potential for you to make an association. And I think as a director of Hollywood movies, I'm sure Zack Snyder is well aware of that. So to juxtapose Geeks and Gamers to an unthinkable tragedy and then say we're trying to bring everyone together implies that Geeks and Gamers isn't, when that's the fan base who is funding your charity stream. And number three, and this is probably, here's three. And number three, and this is probably the more important point. And this is something that's gone on since the beginning of Hollywood. Why in the world do corporations have to destroy everything they touch, especially when it comes to creativity? The entire reason that we need a Snyder Cut is because of studio influence. Right before that very clip I showed at the beginning in the Geeks and Gamers stream, Uche talks about how Zack Snyder, before the tragedy with his daughter happened, before he left the production of Justice League, was threatened over adding the Green Lantern to the original movie. And he implied that the same threats were made as you guys just saw. And why? Why did they even let him go on a stream if they felt so strongly against Geeks and Gamers and a brand that quite frankly raised a bunch of money? I hate the fact that Zack Snyder was put in that position. I hate the fact that Uche was put in that position because I know both really did do something for a charity. I hate the fact that Warner Brothers put people in that position. I don't understand why he was even allowed to go on the stream if that happened. But as I talk about it, to play Angel's Advocate, and knowing how disorganized Warner and DC is in general, as I've talked about a ton on this channel, it could have very well already been scheduled, and then they realized, oh wait, we don't want this to happen, so go do a disclaimer. In any event, I think it's a very sad and unfortunate thing to happen where a lot of people put a lot of work, not just into the charity stream, which still raised over $70,000, which is still a good thing that happened, but into the Snyder Cut even being released. There was such a positive vibe. And I'm not a Snyder Cut guy. I'm not somebody who really wanted to watch the Snyder Cut. I'm not somebody who was looking for the Snyder Cut. I heard about its existence. I thought it was interesting, and I could definitely tell from the first version of Justice League that there were two movies glued together. And yeah, I'm semi-interested, but I'm not a Snyder Cut guy. I'm not somebody who pushed for this release to happen. And this release finally happens, and it's due to the fans. And the first thing Zack Snyder does on his really beloved, well-awaited stream, a stream that had already raised $60,000 before he even got there, is basically piss in the face of the fans, potentially by the order of Warner Brothers. But even so, I don't understand why he had to give that exact statement. No disrespect to Uche. I think he did an excellent job, and I think he did a beyond excellent job. I want to commend Uche. I know a lot of people are hating on Uche. I think Uche, let me go on record, did an excellent job. Because I don't know how he could have spun out of that. You could tell in his face. You could tell on everyone's face when that moment happened. And I'll probably edit that clip in as well. When you watch the clip back, you can just see the life drained from everyone's face and just almost a shock.
We bring in the man. He is the director of the Snyder Cut. He is the leader of this movement, the figurehead of this movement. He is the one, the only Zack Snyder.
There he is. What's up, man?
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Brother.
Hey guys, how you doing? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Listen, just a quick thing before we get started. I know that on our donation page, we still have the Geeks and Gamers logo. I just want to say that I really we talked about this, and we're really not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers as far as I'm concerned.
One of the more interesting people to watch, if you ever watched the clip of Zack Snyder coming on the stream back, is actually My Nerdy Home. I'm not trying to disrespect Stephanie, but she has this smile that you could just see the what the fuck? It almost goes Nick Young, and she tries to bring it back, but then she has the like, oh my God, my drunk auntie is acting crazy at this family gathering smile, and it's interesting to watch. But seriously, on a very serious note, you can see that Uche is as upset as anyone, but he spins out of it. He goes and he tries to be as professional to spin it forward, and he deserves to be commended for that. And he deserves to be commended for organizing everything. And I understand his perspective of somebody who put in a lot of work for a positive cause, and to kind of see it blow up in his face. Again, I feel for Uche in the position he was put in. It was not an easy one. I think he did the best he could. In short, this is kind of a sad thing. I can already see the spin that the fans were ungrateful. This is why you shouldn't give in to them. Honestly, this whole experience just put me off of interest in the Snyder Cut. I only watch it if people who watch it say it's really, really good and worth my time. Otherwise, I'm not going to watch it, and I was beforehand. And don't get me wrong, I'm not really that mad at Zack. I mean, I was initially, but after seeing that clip with Uche and kind of understanding what was at stake, I just think it's unfortunate that Warner chose to take that path and attack the fans and piss in the fans' face yet again. And all in all, if we've learned nothing over the past really 50 or 60 years, is that corporations ruin creativity. How many artists of different genres and different mediums have been ripped off and manipulated and had their vision destroyed outside of what happened with this crazy Snyder stream where he was forced to, or potentially forced, allegedly forced, let me add that in, alleged, because I don't want to get sued, but allegedly forced to kind of piss in the face of fans just for his movie to come out. But it's just par for the course for the entertainment industry. And I'm tired of it. Real quick, before ending this video, I wanted to add this. If a disclaimer absolutely had to happen just for Zack Snyder to come on stream and promote the movie and this charity, couldn't it have gone like this? You have the presenters, and this is not disrespect or an indictment on them, but apparently a lot of people did know beforehand some sort of disclaimer had to be done. So if a disclaimer had to be done, maybe set it up before he even comes on stream in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And even when he does come on stream, say, hey, just for, clarification purposes, I just want to say that I'm not associated with Geeks and Gamers in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and leave it at that. Hell, even if he gave the exact same denouncement that he did, but didn't add the part that referenced in a not so subtle way the tragedy that happened in Atlanta, I don't think there's as much outrage. But that's not what happened. And for that part, I will hold Zack's feet to the fire. I don't see why, even if he had to have an announcement, why an association subtly, intentionally, or otherwise had to be made to what happened in Atlanta. And I also hold the studio responsible for allegedly putting so much pressure on Zack in the first place.